at a time, so we can give as many people as possible an opportunity to ask questions. And then, yeah, so we'll hop straight into it. Thank you, guys. Any questions?
Yeah, I'll go, Zina. Rassie, welcome. How exciting is it for someone steeped in rugby history like you are? How exciting is this for you?
I almost said, wondered if your name is Her Exciting. Then I understood what you said. Sorry. So how exciting us? We're very exciting. My first tour ever to any other big country was to New Zealand, 1994. I went to England and the varsity team tour. But yeah, my first one was to New Zealand. I think it was super tense still. And how to get the touring back and forwards to get to know them better. One sort of lose track of their players, their coaches, their cultures, how they do things, and then you eventually just get them in a test match in a rugby championship, and then maybe in a World Cup somewhere. So I think it's very exciting. Obviously, there's some other people that will be unhappy. But yeah, for me personally, with the age I am at, I really appreciate what's happening.
It's a long way off, well, it'll go fast, but how do you confront 4 tests in a row against New Zealand?
I guess the same as they must try and do it against us. So I think it's a big ask for both teams. But a World Cup, you play probably 2 tough pool games, and then a quarterfinal, semi-final, final. So it's probably a very like for like there. And if you just take what we had to do, all the teams had to do in the rugby championships this year, after we lost to Australia, then we lost to New Zealand, and then we basically had to beat New Zealand, Argentina. And Argentina has beaten New Zealand as well. So there's always these mini little targets you can set yourself. But without a doubt, playing 4 test matches against New Zealand is a totally new challenge. So we'll have to make some plans.
I don't see any further hands. Please raise your hands for questions if you have questions.
I've got one, Zina. Sorry, I've had my hand up. I'm not sure if you can see me or not. But Rassie, thanks for your time, mate. On this, from your point of view, how do you manage this, right? Because if you're the All Blacks coming in, you've got 3 URC games to play before you play the first test. So, but what about for the Springboks? Because I think we saw this a little bit with the Wallabies and the Lions this season, right? Where the Wallabies kind of went in cold against the Lions, and the touring team were actually better prepped.
Yeah, you have the podcast, eh? You have the podcast that you always talk. Yeah, I've watched you a few times. Nice to meet you in person. Listen, yeah, so those 4 games that gets played, it's even this year when we played end of year tour, there's 5 matches. And currently some guys have compulsory rest. The Japanese players are not playing at all. There's about 12 to 14 of them in our team. So that's why we set up another game against Japan for some of the guys who come back from injury and some of the Japanese players to just get match fitness. The other boys will get URC games under their belt. I guess it's a little bit far out to say how many people will be in our squad, but I guess it will be around 36. And then if things work according to plan, some matches might be on Wednesdays, some might be on Saturdays. I haven't looked at that yet. Obviously, the test matches will be on Saturday. So releasing players who lacks game fitness or coming back from injury, I think we will definitely not select a player that play the next week in a test match, but definitely players who's on the fringes, maybe train with us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and release him Wednesday to his club. That's my initial thoughts, but a lot of thinking must still go in there.
Sorry, guys, our raising hand function doesn't work. So if I can ask if there are any questions, just fire away. But can we just spread it equally among everybody so that we get as many as possible? So next question.
Can I ask a question?
Jamie here. How are you? Melita, you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Rassie, good evening. I would like to know, the tour comes, it's a long tour, and it comes, it's not tour from New Zealand, but it comes 1 year, just before 1 year, the World Cup. How important is for you guys to have these 4 test matches in preparation for the World Cup?
I don't want to say anything that will let Australia or Argentina think, they were not worthy opponents, because they beat us, Argentina, the previous year. This year we scraped through with 2 points, and Australia beat us well in the first test match. So we can't say New Zealand is the perfect competition. But for us as South Africans, who, when we had the apartheid era and the flower bomb test match and the Cavaliers touring here, there's a lot of history between us and New Zealand. I think that maybe I would feel the name of the tournament, the greatest rivalry, comes from that, because it's there's some on and off the field things that we've done together, which they've helped us with, and we've helped them with. So in short, we can prepare as well as we can. We can build squad depth, and we must try and beat a team who's probably been the benchmark the last 20 years in world rugby. And we all know somewhere they're going to get back onto the horse and really gallop well with that horse. So we won't look too far ahead, but it's great opposition. But by that, I don't say Australia and Argentina. It's much less of opposition.
Jamie, do you have a question?
Thank you, Zena. Hi, Coach. The big talk about the Springboks lately is the amount of depth that you've managed to create. Given that 4 tests against the same opposition is pretty unprecedented, do you feel like that gives you quite a big advantage as well as playing at home?
Yeah, look, when you're playing for titles, which is something totally new, like the greatest rivalry, the last test match get played unknown stadium. We're not quite sure where that is yet, but that won't be in South Africa, as I understand. So the first 3 is obviously very important. And I think a year, in my opinion, I'm not saying I'm right, I think you can only start finalizing the World Cup squad 18 months out from a World Cup. Then who's got long-term injuries, have so many test gaps, where are your weaknesses, and who are you playing in the World Cup, So no, we won't. I don't think we'll experiment too much in those 3 games. We will just try and win it, so that hopefully the last one is a dead rubber when we're not playing at home. I don't say that in a bad way. So yes, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't put my head to that.
And just another one. If it was up to you, where would that 4th test be?
Up to me, Twickenham. We like Twickenham. Yeah. But it's not up to me. It'd probably be totally at a different place here. I was just honest.
Hi, Rassie. Just looking forward a little bit here to 2030. Just how cool is it to already have, the next greatest rivalry tour locked in?
I wonder where we all will be in 2030. The coaches don't last that long, and my contract is till 2027, and we've got a couple of players who see in the 33s, 35s. Kobus Reinach was man of the match Saturday. He was 35. So it's so difficult to judge which players is going to still be in the mix where. It's tough to judge which coaches and management members will be in the mix. But at least as a supporter, if I'm not there as a coach, as a supporter, as a South African fan, I will go and tour there and those for that period when they go there, because I enjoy New Zealand and the whole setup there. So your coach, a player or a fan, I think it's great.
How important, Rassie, is it for the game next year? You've got the Nations Cup coming in, you've got this tour. How important is it the game keeps moving and innovating when you've got something like R360 circling around and financial issues in some countries? How important for fans, especially, is it that rugby keeps evolving?
I think it has to, I think if all of us start and look at clips of 1967 or 1974, if we still scrummed the way those boys scrummed, we will have so many court cases against us. And just that's on a medical side of things, on a law side of things. Just the traveling that we used to travel. And I'm very sad that we're out of Super Rugby. For me personally, I'm not saying for South Africa. But now we're in time zones. We fly over the next morning. We're there. I know we now compete in the URC. We play in the Sanzar competitions, the Rugby Championship. In my personal view, another evolvement would be if they can slot that the Rugby Championship, so it's not gone into the February slot. I think that will work very well for our law changes. I think it will, of course, all the new law changes or testing of law changes will happen at the same time. Competitions will be synced there. There'll be enough windows for players to rest enough. So I'm just naming a few things. I'm not saying that's a solution, but if we don't keep evolving, the way the players are getting bigger and the game are getting faster and it's more collisions, you'll have to find ways where there's new competitions. It feels like there's more and more cups. You know, it's the Qatar Cup, and there's this cup, and then there's the greatest rivalry, and then it's the Rugby Championship, and then so that feels more. But I was saying on the previous chat, sorry, I'm taking up a lot of time. I was saying on the previous chat with the South African guys, media guys, you know, the players who played matches for us, I think there was 3 players that played more than 8 out of the 10 matches. The average was about 5 out of the 10 matches that we used in the Rugby Championship. So the biggest thing, in my opinion, is player management with these different amount of competitions, hemisphere, until the rugby calendar is aligned. So we must evolve, my friend. You're 100% right.
Next, I think it was...
Yes, sorry. Just a clarification about the calendar for next year. So you have 3 games for the Nations Cup coming to you from the Northern Hemisphere. Then you have the All Blacks 4-test match. Then you're going to the Autumn International and the Southern Hemisphere at the end of the tour. Do you have any other test match throughout the year?
What we might do, what we normally do this year, we are playing Japan for the players who is not match fit, who's actually playing in Japan and they're off now, and players who's coming back from injury. So we play a match against Japan right before we play France. That we asked for that specific match. But I think after the incoming tour and having 4 New Zealand games, I don't think we're going to need any extra matches there. So if I can have it my way, only those 3 games, and then the 4 games, 7, and then the end of year, if I can have it my way, man.
Thank you.
Okay. We have about 16 minutes left. Any other questions?
Yeah, Rassie, I'm just guessing, as a young man, the first time a New Zealand team toured South Africa that you would have been able to watch, they would have been wearing these jerseys, the Cavaliers in 1986.
Yes.
Can you just tell me about your memories of that tour and like how it's regarded in South Africa and how that Springbok team are they counted as a proper test team, etc.?
Not funny enough, just the fact. My first tour was in 1994, and I think it was Super 10. My first rugby games I watched was Eastern Province and my local club Dispatch and provincial rugby. My first test matches I watched was New Zealand. Didn't always have televisions, wasn't always broadcast, but we all knew about New Zealand, all of us. You know, we didn't know the Irish players or the English players. We knew the New Zealand players. And one of our friends, that's a close friend still of mine, is much older than me, Donnie Gerber, is also from Dispatch, and he played in the Cavaliers tour, also the Flower Bomb tour. And then, so my first knowing of international rugby wasn't England or Wales or Australia, it was New Zealand, the games I watched. Otherwise, it was club rugby and provincial rugby. Because the other games wasn't even broadcast. But yes, so 86 would have been my really understanding of rugby. We didn't even watch the previous World Cups because our teams didn't play. And then maybe I can say this, I hope it's not controversial, but also, you know, the politics that played a role of us in the apartheid era, and some guys allowing us to play there and the Cavaliers coming to play here. You will still find here that some people are really heartbroken about that, and some people are happy about that because they feel they had a test cap. I don't know if it counts or not count. And I think that's probably why they call it the greatest rivalry, not because we think we're the best teams in the world. I think that stigma that we're the best teams in the world, that changed in 1 week. You suddenly number 3 and 4 in the world again. I just think we've come a really long way. And New Zealand has been a top team in the last 20 years consistently. It's the last 3 or 4 years that they're struggling a little bit. So I think it's us flying over there, they coming here for the Cavaliers. We're touring there, the guys going over with a boat and all of those kind of things. I think it's more the history than the quality of the teams, if we can put it that way.
Next question. Nice touch there, Jamie. Where did you get that jersey?
I don't know. A mate of mine got it. It must be of about 50 ever made. So I'm pretty happy to have it.
That's cool.
Next question. Is that it? No further questions?
Thank you, Thank you,
guys.
Rassie, can I just ask
Okay.
quickly? It looked like you celebrated very well after the rugby championship. Can we expect to see celebrations like that after maybe a tour win next year?
Look, my mom turned 85 on the game in Wellington. And I forgot to say to her congratulations for her birthday, and she phoned me and she said, "Are you guys celebrating?" And I said, "No, we're getting ready for next week's game. That's important against Argentina." So I forgot to phone her, but that wasn't the cause of celebrations. I wish I can set the record straight. I had a big night. Really, I had a big night. I will never hide from that. But poor Felix was really coming from the gym. I swear, he just had a gym session and he walked in and he didn't know what's going on. And I thought it would be funny. And then he was just actually in the frame. He was actually just coming from a gym. He had a running session. Now, the people say the poor man couldn't walk and he was just tired from the gym. But I can't lie, we had like a celebration. Thank you.
Right,
guys.
anything else,
Sounds
guys?
great.
Okay, keep well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Coach.